What's up guys and welcome back to another Wynand Crypto video. What if I told you that Ripple's massive 1.25 billion hidden road acquisition is about to unleash something way bigger than anyone realizes? We're talking about trillion-dollar markets, secret institutional backdoors, and moves so strategic they're literally called hidden road for a reason. Make sure to watch this video completely until the end because this could change everything for XRP holders. Alright XRP Army, let's dive deep into something that's been flying completely under the radar. When Ripple dropped that bombshell back in April about acquiring Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, most people saw the surface numbers and moved on. But guys, I'm telling you right now, this is so much deeper than what meets the eye. Let me paint you the picture first. We're talking about $3 trillion flowing through their system annually. Over 300 top-tier financial institutions are already plugged in. That's massive, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Brad Garlinghouse himself confirmed this is the exact type of capital and activity that's going to flow directly into XRP and the XRP Ledger ecosystem. Now, why am I saying this acquisition is absolutely game-changing? It's because of all the moves happening behind the scenes around Hidden Road. And it's actually pretty ironic, the name Hidden Road is perfect because so many of these strategic plays have been happening quietly, almost completely undercover. You really need to dig beneath the surface to uncover that Hidden Road has been executing. This reminds me exactly of what we've witnessed with the Metaco acquisition. Remember that announcement? It was huge news. Tons of banking connections tied to Metaco. But what was really fascinating was watching what happened between the initial acquisition announcement and the deal closing. We kept seeing more and more major banks announcing partnerships with Metaco. The exact same pattern is unfolding right now with Hidden Road, and we absolutely need to break this down. So let's tackle the obvious stuff first. Yes, they acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Yes, it processes 3 trillion yearly. Yes, it serves over 300 institutional clients, and most importantly, Ripple's strategy is to leverage this deal to massively scale their RLUSD stablecoin, which Hidden Road uses as collateral, and integrate all post-trade activity directly into the XRP Ledger and Ripple's payment infrastructure. Now let me show you something that proves how big this really is. Watch this.
We also have developed our own digital asset platform, something that we launched in 2022, recognizing that, there's a number of different players that have platforms. One of the things that philosophically we focused on day one was, look, we want to accelerate our understanding and how to develop a platform, but we also recognize to really make it properly decentralized, it needs to sit away from Goldman's balance sheet. And so we announced last November, one of the key focuses for us was divesting the platform. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that, but big focus for us is really just delivering that for next year. And then coming back to the collateral mobility piece as well. So big focus on intraday, which may or may not be that exciting for this audience, but for banks, that's huge. I mean, the amount that institutions borrow on an intraday basis is massive. And so this ability to create intraday FX, intraday repo markets, which we've already started to see on a micro level, actually has a really profound commercial value proposition. Not only is it cost effective, reduces risk, but it also allows you to redeploy your capital and liquidity across the firm to other different parts of the business, be that crypto or wherever. So that's the second part of the business. And I'd say the third part is what we call classic banking. So we have invested in a number of different institutions within the digital asset crypto ecosystem, predominantly around blockchain infra, I would say, or public record. And so that for us, managing those and staying very close, they were all very strategically driven and really help us in terms of accelerating our own vision for this space. As we've all seen in the market, there's been a lot more chatter around the classic M&A advisory, potential IPOs, and we've seen that recently with Kraken and NinjaTrader. We saw that obviously with Ripple and Hidden Road, and so we've just seen a lot more activity in that space as well. So very active.
The answer is simple. This is catching the attention of every major institutional player because of the massive markets being tapped into. We're talking FX markets, derivatives markets. There's so much happening around Hidden Road that's truly hidden. The scale is much larger than those surface numbers we keep hearing. King Solomon broke the news. Hidden Road, now under Ripple's wing, just secured FINRA approval to operate as a broker-dealer. Think about what this means. Hidden Road can now offer their 300 institutional clients a complete suite of compliant prime brokerage, clearing, and financing services for fixed income assets. That's a massive green light for those clients to access prime brokerage, clearing, and financing services in a fully compliant way. But wait, there's more. On May 8, they secured in principle approval for ADGM in Abu Dhabi. This is another huge regulatory milestone that's going to allow them to expand their services in a completely compliant manner without any regulatory headaches. Then on May 29th, boom, Ripple's Hidden Road launches OTC crypto swaps in the US, giving institutions access to cash-settled trades across major digital assets. Look at this timeline. April 8, acquisition announced. April 17th, May 8th, May 29th, major announcements keep rolling out. This isn't coincidence, this is strategic execution. Here's a post from Jungle Inc. that really breaks it down well. Ripple just gave Wall Street its XRP backdoor. Hidden Road's $1.25 billion acquisition has launched OTC crypto swaps for US institutions. Here's the key part. Quiet accumulation is now possible without moving the charts. The swaps are cash settled, meaning no coins move on-chain, but the financial exposure is absolutely real. Exactly what institutions love. While specific assets aren't named yet, let's be honest here. Ripple owns the broker. XRP integration is inevitable. Hidden Road operates through a UK-regulated entity, cleverly avoiding SEC bottlenecks while onboarding US capital. This isn't just about swaps. Ripple is building comprehensive financial infrastructure, Metaco licensed in Europe, FINRA licensed in the US. This is a full-stack institutional play. When XRP gets integrated, expect significant price movement after institutional positions are already established. That's the power of owning the infrastructure. It front-runs retail every time. This represents the quiet phase before the explosive phase. Retail traders chase trends, but institutions trade access, and Ripple just handed them the keys to the kingdom. This acquisition was incredibly strategic, much bigger than what we're being told or led to believe. You have to watch these quiet, calculated moves. Many people see these developments and think, okay, that's good for Ripple, but what about XRP? Everything has XRP at the center, remember? XRP and the XRPL are heavily integrated into Hidden Road operations, even with Metaco. While it's primarily custody enables everything else, which involves XRP and XRPL. And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why, because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the BTCC exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus, and now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created BTCC account, you get, on top of your capital, you moved another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, so if you move or deposit 100K to your account, you get 10K for free. I'm not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody's doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I mean, like, I cannot make that account for you. You will need to do that yourself, alright? So let's jump back into the video. Here's another massive development. Zodiac Custody and Hidden Road are collaborating on an off-exchange settlement solution. If Zodiac Custody isn't familiar to you, let me explain. This is the institutional-first digital asset custodian created by the Standard Chartered in partnership with Northern Trust and SBI Holdings. They're announcing their collaboration with Hidden Road to provide secure digital asset access for institutions. Through this partnership, institutional clients can access both prime brokerage and custody services from a single secure provider via Zodiac Custody Interchange solution, with prime brokerage handled by Hidden Road. The interchange system provides independent asset safeguarding while reducing counterparty risk exposure for Hidden Road's clients. Clients maintain full control of their assets while ensuring maximum protection through settlement obligations. Listen to what the CEO of Zodiac Custody said. This collaboration with Hidden Road represents a crucial milestone toward building the market infrastructure institutions need to enter digital assets at scale while maintaining rigorous standards of security, regulation, and compliance. Remember, Zodiac Custody is backed by Standard Chartered, one of the biggest TradeFi players out there, in association with Northern Trust and SBI Holdings. And here's the fun fact. Standard Chartered was actually one of Ripple's first major investors back in 2016. We're witnessing the institutional floodgates opening for large-scale entry. The partnership with Hidden Road means institutional investors can now leverage interchange alongside expert prime brokerage services to gain greater exposure to digital asset opportunities in a completely safe and secure environment. Hidden Road remains committed to providing clients with comprehensive tools, partnerships, and integration supporting trading across both traditional and digital assets. They emphasize that sound regulatory framework is what institutions need most for digital asset trading, and bringing together their FCA-regulated offerings will support the maturation of digital asset market structure. This collaboration adds significant value to their credit network as both companies share focus on security, compliance, and risk management. This is all about institutional plays at scale. They want massive access to digital assets. They want to bring institutional DeFi into reality, and this happens through underlying networks like the XRP ledger. How do we know this? For the past 12 to 24 months, everyone from Ripple, David Schwartz, Brad Garlinghouse, Monica Long, and other key players like Reese Merrick and James Wallace have been consistently telling us that institutional DeFi will live on the XRP ledger. They're tapping in and focusing on this at scale. Here are two major insights from Matthew Lin Y from June 2nd. Hidden Road with Ripple will scale more transactions on the XRP ledger. Trading Technologies has access to over 100 global exchanges as tokenized assets increase post-settlement, and eventually front and back-end transactions will be XRP enabled. Check this out. Back in June 2024, Trading Technologies partnered with Hidden Road. Look at these numbers. They handled over 2.8 billion transactions in 2024 alone. The TT platform connects to more than 100 exchanges and liquidity venues across a growing number of asset classes. This is absolutely massive. They're offering these services to the world's leading sell-side institutions, buy-side firms, and exchanges. When we consider the numbers tied to Hidden Road, this is exactly why I mentioned Metaco at the beginning. We knew Metaco had tons of banks in their network. That's precisely why these acquisitions are so valuable. Hidden Road doesn't just have 3 trillion annually and 300 institutional clients. They also have partnerships like this that bring 2.8 billion transactions and access to over 100 exchanges and liquidity venues across expanding asset classes. This is incredible ammunition. When we think about the scale, volume, and value here, this is extremely bullish. But here's the biggest bombshell. Hidden Road recently acquired membership status in the DTCC FICC Government Securities Division. This is the largest sector of the government's fixed income market. We're talking $7 trillion in daily volume. This happened on March 14, 2025, with the official notice dated March 11th. Hidden Road Partners LLC is now part of the GSD through the DTCC FICC. The Fixed Income Clearing Corporation's FICC Government Securities Division cleared a record-setting $9.2 trillion in daily activity on September 3, 2024. This surpassed the previous record of $8.8 trillion from July 31, 2024, representing a 4.5% increase. Overall, GSD activity has increased by 42% year over year. This is absolutely wild. The FICC's volume were approximately $7.2 trillion daily, very close to the FX market that settles $7.5 trillion per day. Now they're clearing over $9 trillion as a daily average and have experienced multiple daily peaks above $10 trillion, including late February when volumes topped $10.4 trillion. This is massive institutional liquidity, institutional trading, institutional volume at scale, all ignited by one strategic acquisition. If this opened your eyes to what's really coming, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Wynand Crypto out.